we're going to go through a bunch of examples on using the slope-intercept form to graph. Okay? Look at the first one. Number 1. It says y equals 1/2 x minus 3. Okay? Now, first of all, what is the slope-intercept form? What is the formula using just the letters? Let's review that first. If you go with me, you guys, if you stay with me and you answer these questions, we're going to be able to work through a bunch of these before you leave. Okay? Tyler?
y1 minus y2.
No, that's the slope formula. We're going to work on
Y equals mx plus b.
y equals mx plus b. That's right. So, when an equation is solved for y, when y is all by itself on one side, we have it in this form and we can graph it really easily. What is m again? The slope of the line, written as a ratio. So it's y over x, rise over run. And b is, who knows what b is? Cool? That's the y-intercept. It's where this line would cross the y-axis. And that's where we start when we're graphing this. Start by finding b. It's always the number that is not next to the x. It's not the coefficient of x. So in number 1, it's -3. So all we need to do in number 1 is set up our graph, which I've already set up for you. You have to number your graph each time. Number your graph. And you only have to put 4 numbers on. You have to identify what the interval is. 5, 5, -5, -5. You don't have to number each space. Okay? Just identify what the interval is you're using. Then, mark -3 on the y-axis because that's where this would cross the y-intercept. So start at 0, count down 3, and mark the first point. Start at 0, count down 3, because b is -3. b is -3, right? Nod your head if you can agree with me that b is -3. Yep? Daria? No? Do you see b? Okay, first of all, write down this. Write the slope formula. Then notice that b is the number that is not next to the x. So this is b. Okay? And then this translates to this point on the y-axis. Do you see that? That's where -3 would be on the y-axis. Right? Mark -3. Oh. Okay, then once you have marked b, then mark the slope. What is the slope in this? What is m? What is the number for m in the equation? Emily? 1/2. Positive 1/2. So from -3 we would go up 1 and right 2. Start at -3, go up 1 and right 2, and mark the next point. You can mark another point if you want from there, because the slope will follow that same pattern. Up 1, right 2. We could go down 1 and we could go left 2. Because the slope will follow that same pattern. The line will follow that same pattern. Whatever the slope is, that's the pattern that it follows. Any questions on that one? Alex?
How did you get the VPI?
The what?
The VP1 or whatever?
Oh. I'm sorry, say it again, I couldn't hear you. Up 1, I said up 1 as I was writing it. To graph the slope from this point, you go up 1 and right 2.
How do you know where to start?
You start at the point that you just marked. You start at the y-intercept point. So we mark the y-intercept at -3, because we know that's where that line crosses the y-axis.
Okay.
And then go up 1 and over 2
So
from
you
that
go
point.
up 1 because just
Because the
1 and
top number is 1, positive 1,
okay.
and the bottom number is positive 2, which means up 1 and right 2.
So then for the next one, would you have to make it a fraction even if it's a full number, like
For the next one, you mean number 2?
Yeah. Like
I'll show you number 2. Daria?
How come you have to like four of the dots? Why do you, how do you know how many dots to write?
You really only need 2 dots in order to draw a line connecting those dots. But you can mark as many dots as you want to, because that line will follow that same pattern of going up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. So you can mark as many dots as you want to. You really only need 2 in order to draw the line. Okay? Any questions on that? All right, number 2. Is this one solved for y? No. So that's why I wrote down y equals at the bottom. And we have to solve it for y first. So that means we have to get rid of the negative 2x on the left side. So add positive 2x. Add positive 2x to the right side. Simplify it so that it says y equals 2x plus 5. Y equals 2x plus 5. So we solved it for y in one step. What is b? Tyler?
5.
5. So on our graph, we have to set up our graph again. 2, 4, 5. 2, 4, 5. Then number the graph each time. This is -5. This is -5. Then we have to go up 5, so we're going to mark that point, because that's the y-intercept on the y-axis, right? And then the slope is 2. How do you graph the slope of 2? What should it be as a ratio? 2 over 1. So we would go up 2 and right 1. From number 5, from the y-axis, or the y-intercept, I mean, you go up 2 and over 1. And mark the next point. So we could mark more of them if you want. Up 2 over 1. First 2 are done. Number 3. Now, again, we have to solve it for y because it's not solved. But we can solve it in one step by adding -4x to both sides. So y is equal to -4x plus -7. Now, when we set up our graph, there are 10 spaces. We only need to mark the first 5. So set up your graph again. -5 and -5. Now, mark -7. The dot would go 2 spaces past the -5. And then mark a slope of -4. -4. Now, -4 over 1 would take us down 4, but we're off the graph. Down 4 over 1 would take us to about here. What else would be on that line? Could we go the opposite direction and think of this as 4 over -1?
Yeah.
So where we go up 4 and left 1? So we could find another point on that line that's on the graph by going the opposite direction, by going up 4 and left 1. That's why it's helpful to know how slope works. That a negative slope goes down to the right, and so we can go up and left, or we can go down and right, and we're still on the same line. Up 4, left 1, and we can draw our line. Okay? Cool.
This could be on the quiz on that.
Yes. Alex.
So for number 4, so y isn't solved and b is the like.
So to solve this one, we would add 3 to both sides, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So then y is equal to 2x plus 3.
Okay.
Then Mark, set up your graph. And what's the y-intercept in this one? What is b? Roy?
Is it 3?
3. So mark 3 on the y-axis. Then from there, how would we get to the slope?
You go like 2 up,
Yep.
and 1 to the right.
And right 1. Good. Up to right 1. We could go again. Up to right 1. So we have 3 points from the graph, if you want to. Or you could go down 2 and left 1, because that's still on that line. Down 2, left 1. Down 2, left 1. So you can graph that line through multiple points if you want to. Make sure you draw straight lines, put arrows on the ends of the lines. So you graph the y-intercept first, and then from there graph the slope. Okay? Finish the worksheet for tomorrow.